have you always been quite reflective of your swimming and mentally how you're traveling and physically? It seems as though you're tuned into that uh, quite a bit. Is that something that you've always had?
Yeah, but I think you can overthink it at times. Like I don't think it's so much of a help as it is. It's good to always be reflective, and I think the way I race the 200 specifically is really in the moment, and I do well when I can think and have a clear head and know what's going on around me. Because if it all becomes a blur, then suddenly you've gone out too fast and I've died and I don't know what happened. I just went wrong somewhere. Like I've always been very clear with my racing, but we'll go through it a lot with my coach and talk about these things. But then it comes down to it's just 4 laps, and sometimes I think it might be
Mhm.
better just to dumb it down and just get to the wall as fast as you can because you get all up in your own head, especially about the 200. You can get all up in your own head because it's such a painful race if you do it wrong. That I think it's harder sometimes to overthink it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that I know him, but just based on what I've seen, like it's probably easier to be um, maybe a bit like Ryan Lochte, just
Yeah, just
oblivious to
yeah.
things, and but he like
Yeah.
races as well. Like it'd be great to just
Yeah.
not about things too much. We're all built how we're built, right? And it's
Yeah.
everyone's got their own sort of personality and all of
Yeah.
that. So
Because I often
yeah.
find the hardest race for me is often the heat swim, to be
Why is
honest.
that?
Like at Australian champs, the hardest race was the heats because I went in knowing that I didn't have to swim that hard. But then that kind of second guessing nature of not knowing you don't have to swim that hard to make the final also then comes into like, well, how hard don't I swim? And like, am I swimming hard enough or am I, like, what am I doing here? And it's almost the second guessing that makes the race harder. But in the
Yeah.
finals, you kind of get this clarity of like, all right, I'm just going to do the best I can do, and we'll see what happens. Like, it's a much easier race to execute. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
sometimes it's less painful that way as well for some reason. Like the PB feels less painful than the bad 159.